What's up, traders? Chris Capri here, secondsguysforex.com. So, I got an email today, and my experience of this email is generally what I find amongst most people who are, developing traders. They've been studying a little bit, working on some things. They're eager beavers, and it's the typical questions of or statements of I want to become profitable and consistent. And so, this person here, David, said, hi, Chris, you come highly recommended by Chris Moody. And so a shout out to Chris Moody. Thank you for that. He said, I'm demo trading on IG. I'm developing on TradingView and very keen to getting profitable and consistent. This is the key statement. Very keen to get profitable and consistent. So look forward to seeing how your services help. And so I just happened to be available at that time, and I decided to respond back. And so I said, hey, David, thanks for letting me know about the Chris Moody Rico. And so regarding getting profitable and consistent, this is my key question. Because a lot of people say, okay, I want to be profitable and consistent, but they don't understand the mechanics or what's needed to get there. They think they have an idea of what it is, but from my experience of looking at these statements from people and then asking them what they think it takes to get there, usually the answer, although it's very well contained, it is what I would consider myopic, or kind of just looking at a very small aspect of trading. And so I decided to kind of probe back and just, when I saw that statement, I was like, okay, let's see what they think. What is it that they think is required to be profitable and consistent? And so I asked them, I said, where do you think consistency comes from? And then along those lines, I said, how do you think you can become profitable in trading? And they responded back pretty shortly after. And they said, I didn't expect to have such a personal response so fast. Thank you. And they said, I think consistency comes from understanding what I'm looking at, and he's talking about the charts, and then how to enact the before, during, and after of every trade. So I want you to take a look at what that encompasses in terms of his statement of where consistency comes from, which is that the only thing he needs to know to be consistent is to understand completely what he's looking at in the charts, be able to read price action, order flow, price action context, etc. And then understanding how to do, the before, during, and after of any trade. So if you look at that in terms of how much time that involves, or just the general time scope, and the containment of what he's talking about, or the container of that, which is just charts, just the price action, just the order flow, just the patterns, and then immediately before, during, and after any trade. To me, that is very limited, and I'll share with you my response in this, but I want you to just kind of think of how kind of small, I don't want to say small, I don't mean to insult it or anything like that. It's more of like, it's just a very kind of what I would call a narrow definition of what it takes to become consistent. The second part of the thing is, I think profit comes from understanding what are more probable setups. So again, he's still talking about the charts, he's still talking about patterns, he's still talking about setups, and he says as they happen in context, enacting them, as opposed to chasing something that looked good but may have ended, or wanting a pattern to continue. I'm not really sure what he's saying here, and I'm not sure. He says this part is hazy, so maybe he doesn't either. So here's my answer to these two questions. And I've said this once before, probably many times before, but I don't think a lot of people have caught on to it. So I want people to really catch on to this. As you are listening to this right now, I want you to really catch on to this statement here and this important point. Consistency in your trading comes from the mind. It's not your ability to read price action, part of it. It's not your ability to find setups, part of it, but it comes from the mind. If there is no consistency in your mind, in your thinking, in your mental execution, there will be zero consistency in your trading, regardless of what kind of system you have, what kind of trading plan. How many of you have had a trading plan that you didn't follow? If it was for 1 moment, 5 moments, 100 moments, days, whatever, how many of you have had that? Have you listening right now? Can you raise your hand and say you've had that experience? I've had that experience. If something, you have your rules in place called your trading plan and how you should be relating to everything from A to Z, and yet you aren't able to follow that, then, and your whole trading plan is designed to build consistency, how can you have consistency if you don't follow it? And the more important question is, what is the cause of you not following your trading plan? It's your mind. could be emotions, it could be your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your unconscious mind. Doesn't matter. It comes from your mind. So when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter what the form of you have in terms of your trading plan or setups or system. That's all just the form. If you don't have that same thing, and if you don't have consistency in your mind, it doesn't matter what consistency you have in the form around you, you will continue to act, behave, and experience inconsistency. That is super important. So I really want you to catch on this point. Consistency in your trading comes from consistency in your mind. Without that, nothing happens. Let's go to the next one, where he says, I think profitable comes from understanding what are more probable steps as they happen in context and enacting them. So again, David here is, and I really appreciate his willingness and his enthusiasm. He's just kind of opening up to me, and he's answering my questions right off the bat. And he's even admitting, like this last part he says, he's saying like, look, I'm not really sure about this. So he's super honest, and he's super vulnerable, and I appreciate that. It's really nice to relate to students who are just like this. And so, and he's willing to give it a shot, whether he knows it or not. That's cool. I appreciate someone who's willing to give a shot and then openly admit, I'm not sure about this, but they're willing to take that chance on. You're going to need that kind of energy to be a trader. You have to be willing to take a shot at it. And that just happens to be what you do every single day with trades. My answer to where profitable comes from is kind of twofold. The first thing is that let's say your goal is to be a professional golfer and to make money golfing. Okay, well, what's going to be the most important thing you need to start with? And that you're going to need to start with the core skills required to have a good golf swing. That is not all of it, but think of the golf swing as the equivalent to making trade setups to some degree, or reading price action, or the 3 pillars of price action context and understanding them. So the golf swing, you may think, oh, if I can just swing the golf ball, man, I can win tournaments. If I can be really good at the golf swing, I can win tournaments. Well, guess what? There's a lot of professionals that have really good golf swings. That's why they're professionals, but they don't win tournaments. And there's many reasons for that. So there's many reasons why a good golf swing alone won't do it. Because there is club selection. There is read of the course itself, the weather conditions, dealing with the kind of pressure of eyes and cameras on you. There's all kinds of things involved. And even inside the core skills of a golf swing, let's think about this for a second. There's like the mechanics. I'm not even a professional golfer, and I can come up with this much. So there's going to be how you grip the club. There's going to be the angle of your arms as they're holding the club. There's going to be the position of your feet in relationship to distance of the ball. Then there's going to be width of your feet in that position there in relationship to your body and shoulders. And, so there's that. If you think about it, there is the pullback on the club, which requires a certain position of the arms, shoulders, hips, everything. I mean, there's a lot going on. Then there's the follow through, which requires hip and shoulder rotation and arm swing. I mean, there's so many things that are involved just in this core skill of swinging the golf club. And until you can swing that golf club well and consistently, you're not going to be able to win tournaments against other professional players. You're not going to be able to win. So why am I saying this? Profitability comes from, at a minimum, knowing the core skills of trading. And those are being able to read price action context and the order flow behind it. Those are the very core. If you're going to be a chart trader, if you're going to trade charts, if you're going to trade fundamentals, it's very different, and that's not something I have any interest in touching or using. Or I would not consider myself a reference on that. I would send you somewhere else if you want to do that. But if you want to trade off of charts, you're going to be able to need to read price action context and the order flow behind it. It's the core skill, because everything that you're going to do in terms of trading is going to be about your ability to read patterns. After that, then there's the mechanics of risk, there's the execution, the trade plan, the setup, the patterns you're spotting, risk, the whole thing. So this core skill has a lot of, just like the golf swing, has a lot of subcomponents. If you're going to want to make money trading, you're going to need this core skill. If you're going to want to make money golfing, you're going to need that core skill. You're going to need many things on top of it, but that's the core skill. What's interesting is that when I look at this response, I think profitable comes from understanding what are more probable setups as they happen in context and enacting them. Now, his answer, when I get the question or when I ask the question of what do you think it takes to become consistent and profitable, when they talk about being profitable, they generally talk in this kind of genre or form or gestalt. Setups, entries, stop losses, take profits. It's all about that. It's all about just the trade itself. It's a very limited aspect of what you do on any given day. But okay, let's talk about that. How do you make more probable setups as they happen in context and enacting them? You do that from having the core skill of price action context, the three pillars of price action context, and reading the order flow behind it. That's the core skill. Yet he's not talking about skills. So he's not thinking about, let's kind of reframe this. When he thinks about profitability, he's not thinking about the thing that's going to get him there. He's thinking about the picture of what it looks like when he'll be there. And then he's thinking, that's all I need to do. He's not realizing that there's a before step. And that before step is learning the skills, the core skills of price action context. He's going to have to learn those skills. He's not even talking about skills that will help you find more probable setups as they happen in context. He's not talking about the skills. He's talking about the end result in what you see. So there's a step that has to be done before this. And to be honest, this answer that David had here is 90% of the time when I ask this question to somebody who is not really trained, this is the answer I get, or something very much like this. I want you to think about this. If you are where David is now, or if you were where David is now, so you're somewhere past that, did you have this experience? Have this belief that all you need to be profitable is make more probable setups as they happen, read the charts, patterns. Have you thought at some point in your learning arc that what it requires to become profitable is that? My guess is 9 out of 10 of you are answering yes. My guess is you are probably saying yes. You've had that experience. For this video, I'm speaking to those people who are anywhere between starting off and where David is at right now in his stage. I'm speaking to you people right now. And I'm also reminding the people who have kind of gotten past this and learned this how important skills are. Just practicing the basics. Like if you look at Steph Curry, Steph Curry is this amazing basketball player. He's like small and he's just amazing with his dribbling skills. Dribbling is one of the most basic skills you do in basketball. And what does he have as his special pre-game routine? He has this special dribbling skill that was actually designed to help him heal injury, rewire his brain, and build certain skills, both physical and mental, that would allow him to dominate on the court. This guy's a pro, and he's still practicing this every single day. That should tell you something. That should tell you, about your training and something that you need to continue practicing. It's super important. I cannot emphasize this enough. Basketball players don't practice free throws or don't stop practicing free throws when they become a pro. No, they practice them more. They don't stop practicing dribbling or passing or all these other things. No, they practice them more. A professional pianist doesn't stop practicing some of their most basic pieces or basic exercises. They practice them more. So don't think that being pro means doing less in terms of some of the things you do, or a lot of the important things you're doing now. If anything, it means doing them more. That's kind of my answer as to if you want to become profitable, instead of thinking about the end result and what it looks like when you are trading profitably, and the form, just the simple form of that, I want you to think of what will take you to get you there. And are you practicing them today? Are you practicing those skills today? Are you training in them consistently? Do you even know what those are? Do you even know what you need to train in? This is actually one of the problems I find with trading education today as a whole. In terms of the format and how trading, there's a lot of things in trading education I'd like to change. But in terms of the form of how training is delivered, the majority of it is just information based. They just give you a bunch of information and then expect you to turn that information into skills or into trading. And if that was all that was required, more people would be that, but it's not. You have to information. You You could fill your brain with information for the next 20 years and not have the skills to trade successfully or not build the skills. Or you could be practicing those skills from day one, but you need to know what they are. And so this is super, super important is that you recognize skills. I'm going to need the skills to get there, and there's going to be a combination of mindset skills, and there's going to be a combination of risk management skills, and there's going to be a combination of price action skills. You put those three together, and that is going to determine your result. It's not that if you stack the deck in one part of that triangle that the rest of the triangle will balance itself out. It doesn't work that way. I know you like to think it does, but it doesn't. In fact, if you think it does, just keep trying it for the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years and let me know how it goes. I've seen people, thousands of people make this mistake and they get nowhere. It is only until they start to train outside of what they think is the path to get them forward that they actually start to make change. And this is kind of my last, thing I want to leave you with. The bottom line is this. When it comes to your current trading performance is based on how you are dominantly wired in your brain. It's a combination of that and the method you're using. If it was just the method, more people would be making money. Many of you don't know this because you haven't been around that long, but Second Skies, in the first year that it came out, which is 2007, we had a signal service. We had a service where we would once a week talk with students. We would do like a 1 hour class, talk about trade setups, markets analysis, answer questions, and then we'd make trade recommendations every single week. Every single week. This is our trade recommendations. And these trade recommendations were very specific. Entry, stop loss, take profit. If we were going to manage it, we'd talk about that. And then the next week, we'd just review all that. We made a lot of money the first year. And I say we because I used to have a partner. And then, he was going in one direction, I was going the other, and we just parted ways, and that was that. But yeah, we made money. How many of my students from that time were able to make money? 10%. It was about 10%. It should have been 100, but it wasn't. So here I was giving them profitable trade sets that week after week, month after month, we're making money. And most of them weren't. And so, why am I saying this? We had the same thing in 2010, and again, it made money and the same result. And I realized that I need to teach traders the skills so they can make these trades themselves. If they don't have consistency in their mind now, they're not going to be able to follow my trade recommendations. If you do not have consistency in your mind now, you won't even be able to follow trade signals that make money. It's not going to happen. You're going to fiddle with the trades. You're going to think something differently than the analysis. You're going to be worried about locking in profits or that, taking this loss when you see, oh my God, it's so obvious it's going to hit the stop loss. You're going to make a lot of adjustments and then you're going to throw the whole thing off. Your performance right now is determined how you are dominantly wired in your brain. If you are not wired to have consistency in your trading right now and in your brain right now, you won't have consistency in your performance at all. If the way you are wired right now is enough, if the dominant wiring is there for you to be successful in trading, then as long as you have some sort of method with a reasonable edge, even a slight edge, you would be making money right now. You will, and this is how your brain is designed, you will 90% of the time, maybe even more, do what you're most dominantly wired to do. If you are currently wired to be successful in trading, assuming your method has just even the most modicum of edges, you will be profitable right now. If that is not happening, most likely it has to do with you. You are the common denominator. Through all the courses you've taken, through all the systems you've tried, you are the common denominator. It's not those variables that are changing, it's that variable that's staying put. That's you. If that's not happening for you right now, if you are not trading consistently and you're not profitable right now, then most likely you're not wired to do so right now. The great thing is you can change that. Most of the trainings out there, from what I've seen, aren't designed to change how you're wired. They're just designed to dump information. And while they think they're giving you methods and tactics to help you change your brain, they're not. It's more of like just kind of trading psychology suggestions. It's not actual methods or practices or skills that you can, or techniques that you can use to wire your brain differently. If you want a different result than you have right now in your trading, you're going to need to wire yourself differently. There's no way around it. If you had the wiring now, you would already be doing that. If you're not, well, then you need to rethink your approach. Maybe even take some sort of, thinking outside of yours. If you've ever wanted to get change, you can either do things that you've done in the past that have worked and see if that works here, and they may not. I'd say it's probably going to be 50-50. Or you could learn to wire your brain differently, and you're going to need thinking outside of your own to do that. You won't be able to do that on your own. Again, if you could, you would already be doing it. This requires you to go outside how you're wired now, thinking that's different based upon a different wiring. So, whatever your performance is right now, it is kind of a map and a reflection of how you are wired right now. That should be a great starting point, because then if you look at that seriously, then okay, if you look at that honestly and self-reflectively, then at that point you have a frame of reference. It's like, okay, there's a lot of things going on right here, so I need to make some adjustments. I need to make some changes. I need to wire my brain differently. That should be your goal then. So the great thing is it gives you a roadmap, and at that point you got to start training. Then there's no way around it. And so if you are that person who feels like, yeah, I'm not performing the way I should be right now. I'm not wired there. I feel like I could be doing better. I feel like I know I should be doing better. I feel like there's so many times I'm super close to making money, but then something happens. If that's you, check us out, secondskiesforex.com. I have training for this. I have the ATM course, which is the Advanced Traders Mindset course. Solely focuses on mindset. It's for people who are very serious about trading. You have to be really serious to want to take this train. To just take a train that's solely focused on mindset, that requires a certain level of seriousness. But maybe you're not that serious, but maybe you want to also build your price action skills. Okay, well then that's what the advanced price action course is. It's designed it is a skill-based course that's designed to teach you the core skills of price action, context, and the order flow behind it. That's its goal. Does it have some mindset stuff in there? Yes, it does. So you can kind of get a little bit of both if you want to. But that's the goal of these, is to change the way you think, trade, and perform. If you're happy with what you're doing right now, stick with it. But if you're not, and you want to see real change, the way you think, the way you trade, the way you perform, then come check us out. So that's my thoughts and sentiments on this, about what it takes to be consistent in trading and what it takes to be profitable. Um, of course, you're going to need something with positive expectancy, and if you want to, if you know that positive expectancy is what you need to make money trading, then your goal should be to create the underlying mechanics which create a positive expectancy. So that's another aspect of it. But no doubt you need that. However, if you want consistency, you're going to need to wire that into your brain. And if you're going to want to be profitable, you need to expand your scope just beyond, buying and selling and picking charts and trades. You got to go beyond that. You're looking at the end result, not what comes when you build the skills. So that's my thoughts on that. What do you think about that? Do you agree, disagree? Did you get something out of this video? Did you learn something? Where are you in the spectrum? Before, during, after this kind of learning arc? I want to hear your feedback. And, also make sure to, give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Check us out at secondskiesforex.com. Leave a comment. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was engaging. I look forward to your comments and questions on that. And I will see you inside the next video. Take care, everyone.